You're welcome back to iBrand Daybreak, and now it's time to talk business in the morning motivation segment. Now, fashion is universal. Everyone loves to look good. Everyone should look good because, like they say, how you dress is how you would be addressed. We have a lot of fashion designers currently that are making waves and being popular, but the thing is, how successful are they in their field? And that's where we'll bring you to the segment of discussing tips to becoming a successful fashion designer. And trust me, we have a very beautiful and successful fashion designer right here in the studio with us. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm very fine.
You look amazing. You look beautiful.
You
look successful, and I'm sure you are successful. Firstly, just tell us about yourself, a bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Olabisi Emmanuel, and I'm the creative director for I&O Clothing.
I&O Clothing.
Yeah, well, a plus-size women's wear brand. The idea is to ensure that curvy women in Africa are confident in what they wear. They look confident in what they wear.
So strictly, you mentioned plus size.
Yes.
And we know the average African woman is
curvy.
Yeah, and it's curvy, beautiful
Plus,
because fleshy. So why did you choose plus size?
Okay, so it's a niche that intentionally, you know the way the media is, we've intentionally giving women generally the idea of what beautiful looks like, which is slim, and that's true media, right? And a lot of women find it difficult to find things in their size. If you're size 14 and above, when you get into a shopping store, I know it's a problem you're going to have. You see the most beautiful designs and you won't find it in your size. From a 14 and above, then, so what are we expected to wear? And being one myself, it was a challenge growing up, and I decided to start making things myself. I had to go learn to start making things myself. And I knew that, okay, a lot of people see things I like and they're like, where did you get this dress from? Who made it? How can I get this? And that's how I started. And I made sure that I focused to also serve these women.
Talking about, you learning the ropes of being able to satisfy the needs of, plus size women. How long was that? How much did it cost you in terms of the cost and the duration?
All right, so first hand, I learned from my mommy. My mom is a tailor.
Interesting.
So I knew how to sew. The first thing I started doing was fitting my pinafores. I went to boarding house, so my mom would make it, because you're big, she make it drabby, like don't let them see your body. You're big already. So I started, adjusting my uniforms myself while I was in boarding school, and that's how I started. But when I knew that I wanted to do it, I didn't want to do it the way my mommy did it, the way she made it, cover up and all of that. So I knew that I needed to go and get this knowledge and this skill to do it in a better manner. So I went to a fashion school, and that was true during ASU strike there. So it was a long one, and I said, okay, instead of me just wasting away at home, let me go to a fashion school. So I enrolled in a fashion school, and luckily I finished within 1 year of the ASU strike. So that was it. And I think at that time it cost me about 120,000 naira
for the whole year.
For the year.
Oh yeah. Quickly to chip in for those who are watching, is it different learning how to sew for plus size women compared to those of average size?
So it's even in learning, it's the same thing as what you see on the outside. When you're learning, you learn. The mannequins you see are small mannequins. That's how you learn. The patterns you make, they're of a size 8. That's how you learn. So it has to take you an intentional decision to learn how to make clothes to fit a curvy woman. It's different from when you're making clothes to fit a smaller person. So I used myself as my mannequin. I used myself as an example to know how to do these curves and all of these things. That was it.
All right. So, and having to make clothes for plus size ladies, has there been challenges that had come? Of course, every business has its challenges, ups and downs. But what are some of the challenges you would say you had encountered in making clothes for plus size ladies?
Okay, so most of the time, the first challenge is with the person.
Okay.
So the fact that they don't even feel confident, it's been, because you're big, you're not beautiful, your body is not pleasing or it's not appealing, and all of these things. So it starts with, Olabisi, my hands will show, my hands are big, they're going to show, my tummy is going to show, and all of these things. So those are the first challenge. It's about the person. But when women begin to accept their body and love it, while you're working on whatever body size you want to become, you are proud of the body you're in, whatever it is, you would wear it, and you wear it confidently. But from the business angle, challenges are normal to happen. They're bound to happen. So for me, as a brand or as a business owner, the first challenge having to do with plus size women is the fact that the type of fabrics that we're going to be using, because they have to have a little bit of stretch, comfort, or we have to always make sure that the way we cut the design process has to be able to capture or sit the flesh, or extra flesh has to be able to sit in it. So it takes a longer process in production compared to what you're doing for a slim size.
A slim size, okay. Well, talking about that, I mean, because that's something I've heard tailors complain about when I, accompany friends to their tailors. They talk about probably a client adding weight, and all of that. So for plus size ladies, you just said the extra flesh sitting in. Do you have that challenge wherein, especially if the client wants it to be a fitted outfit, do you have that challenge wherein probably 2 weeks, interval?
You've gotten bigger. All right, so it really doesn't work that way. Like 2 weeks, you've gotten really bigger. That's why I talked about fabric. If the fabric has a bit of stretch, it's still going to fit in most of the time. Or sometimes we have to do, when we're doing custom made, we have to do inbuilt corsets into a dress so that it can help you snatch properly. Even if you've had a weight, it can snatch you properly and the dress still fits.
All right, now looking at this for plus size ladies, I know a couple, sometimes some other persons who are slimmer may like your designs, and maybe like what you're wearing is really beautiful. I was about to say that's really beautiful. I like it, as a matter of fact. And some persons who are smaller than me may like that too. They come to you. Would you say because you're strictly plus size, you wouldn't get that money?
Okay, so no.
Oh, wow.
So the focus is on plus size because we don't have a lot of people in the market serving them. Doesn't mean we don't do for slimmer size. It's an inclusive brand. That's why we say No Clothing is an inclusive brand. Or inclusive meaning that you're small, you're big, whatever the body type, whatever the body shape will serve you.
Okay, I just needed to get that correctly.
But talking about the cost, I know you said earlier that it's the production process that it takes time. It's because it's lengthier. Does that also affect the cost?
Okay, so for some brands, they make sure you see that you see size 8 to size 12. 8,000 naira, size 12 to size 22, 20 something thousand naira. No, but at No Clothing it doesn't. If it's for size 8, if we're doing it for 10,000 naira, for size 20 it's also going to be 10,000 naira.
Why the uniform price? I'm sorry to interrupt. Why the uniform price?
Okay, so the idea is that there's no difference. That's the brand that we're building. I am beautiful as a size 16 that I am. As a size 8, you're beautiful. It costs you the same thing to look good. Why should the price?
But with the extra fabric, fabric and the lengthier duration.
Time. Okay, so the thing is that you have to ensure that you have the right processes in place. The same time it's going to cost me to make for a size 8 is the same time it's going to cost me to make for a size whatever. It may be in the process of cutting and designing, it may take longer time, but it's a one-time thing. When you have the pattern made, I can always transfer it to. So it's not the idea of costing me extra fabric, okay, maybe an additional 1 yard of fabric. I'm not sure that can put a dent on my business.
Yeah, I think this is a very nice one, because I was going to come to that before he mentioned it, because of course I've had people say because it's a size 10, then you are paying lesser, and it now makes the lady, maybe for instance, if I was a size 10 before and now I'm a 12, and because I have to pay less, I'm not trying to feeling bad. Why did I even add weight?
So it's costing me money to add weight,
and then I start intentionally trying to
look for how to reduce,
and I start hitting the body. I think what you just said, it makes a lot of sense, and maybe some business owners have different reasons for doing different things. Of course, we'll talk about the extra fabric, but the thing is, you just mentioned extra fabric may really not even cost so much. Really not cost I'm glad you are having
another thing for some brands is that because this is not their niche, they really don't even know how to properly design for a curvy woman. So it's like it's taking them an extra mile to do that, extra effort to do that. So they want to charge for that effort. But for me, that's what I've learned over time. It's something that I had to learn and acquire the skill to do. So it's a comfort zone for me.
Talking about challenges, I know earlier you said it starts with the client himself or herself in terms of being able to exactly. What are the other challenges you've faced
as a fashion business owner?
Yes.
Okay, so another challenge that I know that every fashion designer watching this is going to have is staffing. Your tailors staying, your tailors not having to worry about a tailor disappearing or ghosting you in the next few days, and that's a big challenge and that's because we don't have a work culture that allows people to stay true to whatever they're doing. Everybody wants to become a boss, or everybody wants a better, of course we all want a better paying job in one way or the other, but tailors especially, it's a challenge to get good ones and to retain them. It's actually a challenge.
You think that has to do with low remuneration, or it's just strictly about independence?
Even for fashion business, I really don't, because people now pay because there's money in fashion business. So people pay for these things, but a lot of people just, I don't understand. I think they just want to jump, or they just want to stay with you 1 month and they're gone on to the next thing. So that's why you see that as a fashion business, you hear that, oh, we're bringing our tailors in from Togo, we're bringing our tailors in from Ghana, we're bringing our, because they believe that when this one comes, because they are in a new country, they stay longer. So we're not even employing our own hands because they're not trustworthy. All
right, now you mentioned, along the line of the conversation, you mentioned that you, of course, you're a brand that is focused on plus size ladies. Now there's some plus size ladies that are into so many things. I've heard someone say the clothes for her brand, what she does is she doesn't do anything short, so it's always maxi gowns, also modest. Well, that's not undermine the fact that some fashion, some plus size ladies are into plus size modeling and they need to wear some short things. So are you that kind of brand that, because most plus size ladies believe that they're not to cover up, if you probably have a Margaret who is plus size modeling and somehow I need to wear some brands that would expose some part of my body, is it something you are open to working with, or it just has to be covered all through?
Okay, so no, you don't have to be covered all through. Personally, I don't like to be covered all through. So the thing is that it's about what you want. If you want it covered up, that's what we'll give you. If you want it, however, whatever the design, the idea is just that you're beautiful, you're confident in what you're wearing and how you look. How you look, if it's confident, if it's appealing, if you like it, then we give it to you. So we're not all about you have to be covered up, you have to dress this way, you have to know.
I just want to get that information.
It's what you want.
But now quick, let's go straight into the business angle of it. You mentioned that in fashion these days we have there's money in fashion compared to before that everyone can just wear what they want. But now a lot of fashion shows, fashion entrepreneurs are coming up. So what's the business angle? What's the, I'm not saying tell us your bank account now, but what's the remuneration like? What's the money coming into fashion, especially for plus size ladies now that's your need? What's it like?
Okay. All right. So the thing is that when you talk about the remuneration now, you make money in fashion because the funny part is that it depends on your customer base. At the same time, the pieces at which you make the cost at which you make them, you cannot compare it to what you had before. Now the looks matter. Everybody, it's all about the looks. That's the first thing people see even before they talk to you, before they know how intellectual you are upstairs. So when you talk about making money in fashion, there is money. Let me say that again. If you are a brand that has proper structure, you've learnt your craft, customers can trust you, they can rely on you, on your brand at any time, you'll be making an average of say like a 800,000 naira to a 1 million naira monthly. As a proper brand, right? You make that much monthly, and that doesn't, I'm saying revenue now, it does not equate to profit
exactly,
because of the overhead cost you're going to be acquiring at the same time. It doesn't now mean this is even for an SME like myself, right? A more bigger brand make way more, where a dress costs like 50,000 naira. Imagine when you have a client, let's say you do roughly of 40 pieces in a month. So let's do the calculation. When you're making a piece for like 50,000 naira, 60,000 naira, you know the cost is higher. So it depends on your customer base. It depends on your profit margin or your costs. These are the things that affect or determines what you make in fashion, but really there's money in fashion.
As an extension to this discourse, I know apart from Owambe, we're looking at the prospects now within the industry, and we can't rule out the fact that there's still that preference for imported wares and designers and all of that. I think where most indigenous fashion designers oftentimes cash out is when they do the Owambe, the various styles and all of that Ashwebi. But let's bring it down to corporate wares, basic wares and all of that. How, what's the prospect in that sense in terms of being lucrative? I mean, an outfit that doesn't require going to the parties and all. How lucrative is that aspect of the business?
That's why we have a lot of brands that come up and they're strictly ready to wear brands. They're the one, something like what I'm wearing, what you're wearing. They're ready to wear. They're easy, pick off the rack, just the way you go into an international brand or whatever brand, and you just pick a dress off the rack. So we have a lot of them. The market is huge. It's about the fact that a lot of people will be like, oh, since I can get a dress for 8,000 naira, 10,000 naira, I want to also get it at that price from a ready-to-wear brand here. It's not so sustainable. That's why the problem right now in that industry, there's a lot of prospects, but because we also want to sell at that price of 8,000 naira, 10,000 naira, you now feel like you get it and the fabric is not going to be durable. And they don't have a choice if they want to make a margin. From the 8,000 naira, 10,000 naira price. If they want to make a margin, the fabric would not be because you cannot compare it to a manufacturing company that have more money to purchase fabric in a larger quantity. They produce in mass compared to someone that's producing 2-piece or 1-piece in a day and selling it at that cost. So it doesn't mean that the market is not there. The prospect for ready to wear is huge in Nigeria. The fact that we now support made in Nigeria, we also support people coming up with their businesses and doing great things and just serving the market. But if people don't want to pay the extra, they will not get the kind of quality they think they get when they are buying it outside.
Now we have fashion. We have quickly. We have a lot of fashion entrepreneurs now these days. A lot of people are doing fashion, but then having to cope with competitors, having to have your own customer. I know that's something that, especially for a small business or a startup. So what's your coping mechanism like?
All right, so one thing that's always helped me as a brand is the fact that my customers stay. All I need is to make you a dress, and I'm sure that the dress is going to bring someone else from you. So what my business lives on currently, which is not so much of a good one, is referral. You can trust me. You can tell me that, Olabisi, I need a dress tomorrow. Trust me, you will get it tomorrow. And because of that confidence that you have in me now, you're able to talk to someone else about me. So that's how my business has grown over the years, right? But a lot of people, when they even have the few customers that they have, they're not able to retain or maintain this customer due to disappointments. You're not trustworthy. They cannot rely on what you're going to do. Or at the end of the day, your products are not neatly made. It's not neatly finished and all of these things.
Not meeting up with the trends.
They're not meeting up with the trends or the standard itself. Because everybody, they want to pay less but they want the quality. They want it to, they want to be proud of what they're wearing. So if you cannot meet up with these things, of course, the little ones you have will fall off. Another thing you can do for yourself as a business owner is to ensure that right now, marketing, social media marketing, just keep pushing your brand out there. When you get one, maintain and hold on to that customer, serve them right. Trust me, they're going to stay.
Okay, let's look at folks who want to delve into the business. I mean, the fashion world is broad. There's the place of styling. Those who draw the designs in terms of sketching and all of that. You know the jargons very well than I do. But let's run through some tips that can help those who want to delve into the business. You're an experienced hand, and as an old guard, what are the measures you would give to the newbies who are trying to get in?
Okay, first thing I will say that go and get the knowledge.
Okay.
Go to a fashion school.
Not YouTube.
YouTube is going to always be a resource center for you. When you come back, go to a fashion school.
Okay.
When you leave a fashion school, I would advise that you go and intern with a brand. What do you want to learn when you intern? How to run the business. One thing that I want to believe that would have helped me was that when I started, or that helped me was that when I started, I went to intern somewhere else. I knew fashion, but I didn't know the business of fashion. They are two different things. So now that we're talking about fashion, go to a fashion school, learn the craft itself. Continue to equip yourself and learn every day. I still learn. There's still courses I'm taking, even with my years of experience in the business. So keep learning. But another thing, learn the business of fashion. What's the business of fashion? It's business generally. How you run a telecommunication company, how you run a barber shop, how you run however. If you cannot run a business, you cannot run your fashion business. So as you're getting the skill, learn the business. How do you operate a proper business? If you don't, you're just going to be doing a one-man business, or it's just passion. It's not yet a business until you know how to run a business, then you can now run your fashion business.
All
Okay.
right, that's a nice
That's
place.
a nice place
so
to wrap it up.
Olabisi, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
We
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
what you do. At least people like us, we have a lot of hope somewhere that we wear nice clothes and not go and start fitting a size 10 and try to force it into a size 14. Thank you so much, Olabisi,
Thank you.
for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was Olabisi. It's been an amazing time talking. We had also an amazing time on the show. We'll take a short break now. After the break, we'll come back and we'll wrap up the show for the day. Stay with us.